Is it me or has everybody gotten like insanely mean? I have a friend who's afraid to like post pictures of her online and do stuff online because of how mean people are. She posted a picture of herself one time on Twitter. For some reason, like that picture blew up. And she's a heavyset girl. And like the comments were fucking crazy. But she sent me like a picture of her DM and like somebody told her to herself because she's heavyset.
I don't know what it is in the air nowadays, but it feels like people are so mean. What is going on, y'all? Social media has become not fun anymore. And I feel like we're at the peak of this like new era that we're in. Oof. Might have to put a new pimple patch on that. I have seen this new trend lately on the internet that I think we've all started to notice, and it's been this huge shift that's been going on lately with people on the internet just collectively not having as much fun anymore.
I saw someone say that we are in the end times of TikTok because the app just feels so overwhelmingly negative now. And dare I say that they were right? Like, it's just not fun anymore.
I don't know when life got so serious to the point where everybody just feels like they need to take pictures with like professional cameras, even for like casual pictures. Like, I get it, right? If it's like a birthday or like baby shower, graduation, I'm not trying to judge people for like taking pictures and professional cameras, because to each their own. But it's like, I don't know if I'm the only one, like, but I like looking real, you feel me? Like, I feel like pictures don't look real no more. I'm not saying people are photoshopping, no. Like, I miss when people look real in their picture. Like back in 2016, I know society will not shut up about 2016, but I feel like that was the best time for posting. Like, everything was just so fun, and like nobody was overthinking nothing. Like, we just posted anything.
The trends don't feel as fun. Everything is taken super seriously. Even a lighthearted show like Love Island has become so serious and draining.
Now that Love Island is over, can we like wrap up the conversations? Like, I'm ready. I need a For You page cleanse. It was cute, but like it's getting weird and dark. Like, no, I'm ready. It's over. Bye-bye.
And I feel like it's a part of a bigger conversation of where we stand right now as a society, and it's pointing to some major recession indicators. Let me just say that. So I thought, what better time than to do another unfiltered get ready with me, y'all. I love these videos. These are like one of my favorite videos to make. This primer is so nice. It's more like a serum though. I wouldn't say it's the best at gripping your makeup, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of the Rem Beauty primer just to give it a little bit more of like a matte priming grip. I'm not usually a matte primer girly. Like, I've literally had this forever and I barely use it because I like my dewy primer, but I feel like this is one of those kind of mattifying primers that are still very hydrating for my dry girls out there. I'm gonna try to do like a dewy / matte look today. So I have been seeing a lot of people talk about how social media feels not as fun anymore and it feels super serious, and I feel like there are a lot of different things that are pointing to social media being less fun. I came across this one particular video. I'm gonna go ahead and play it for you guys here. I did want to point out this comment that I saw under the video. So it says, I believe it's a mixture of tech addiction, unmet needs, loneliness, economic / political uncertainty, and resentment of themselves. I noticed this shift in 2021, both on and offline. I would say I have noticed it in person too, but I feel like just with social media, it makes it more normal and easier for people to feel comfortable being mean behind a screen. But I definitely think that after 2020 is when we started to see this shift of how people talk to other people online, trends kind of going on the decline, and overall, social media being a lot less fun, a lot more serious, and a lot more mean. I was literally just talking to some friends about this, but as an African, we are very collectivist. We're more willing to like talk to strangers. The US is definitely more individualistic. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Is it the best for society? Probably not. But I think with the combination of us already being in an individualistic society and a lot of people not really having too many friends anymore, the loneliness epidemic, I think all of that and COVID especially has contributed to a lot of us not really saying what's up to people anymore, a lot of us not really smiling at people anymore, a lot of us avoiding eye contact when we go out in public. And I feel like that's because we are living online more now than ever.
I'm gonna be dead ass. Why is it like low-key controversial to just like talk to people nowadays? Because the older generation, like, they be going up to people and striking out conversation with strangers, and we think that they're weird as hell for it. But honestly, like, it's just socializing, it's just community.
And I feel like especially online, as a psych girly, okay, I love having conversations like this. They're so interesting to me, but I feel like especially online, it's like a case study. Like, we can really see how society is truly being impacted right now and in what ways and where we as a collective stand. So I feel like one really, really good example that shows kind of where our headspace is as a society is cancel culture.
You don't actually want to hold people accountable. You just enjoy participating in public shame. I'm making lunch and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about it in relation to the internet as a whole and how quickly we move from topic to topic. And by that, I mean accountability to me has always been holding someone responsible for something negative that they've done and then hoping that they take that responsibility and then actively work to change for the better. But online, it seems accountability just means publicly humiliate and bully someone until there's someone new to latch onto. And we see this in tons of ways with Love Island that just ended whenever an influencer gets canceled. It's like the point is to make sure they understand why what they did was wrong and then hope that they take the time to find the tools to actually change. But the issue is change is not a fast process. It's very complex, it's very slow moving, it's very personal, but there's no time for that on the internet. And because the internet is always moving like this, all we do when we talk about accountability online is bully, harass, shame, dox, you're wrong, you're bad, you're a terrible person, punish, 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 and then throw them away. There is no room and no time for actual growth. And that is very reminiscent of the carceral system as a whole, with the heavy focus on retribution versus rehabilitation.
But I feel like now cancel culture has become a lot less about actually holding people accountable and more about deplatforming someone. A really, really good example was Love Island, okay? It's like a dating show where they basically send some islanders to Fiji in a villa for a few weeks and they find the love of their life. Whatever couple gets the most votes from the US wins 100K, and they split it between the two of them, or they can choose to keep it for themselves. Already, this premise of the show is really, really interesting because it has the audience interact with the show, and it is in real time. So these people are on the villa. There's like an episode almost every single day except for like Wednesdays or Saturdays. This season was just like, y'all, it was a lot, okay? And I have watched a few seasons of Love Island. I've watched the UK. I've watched a few seasons of the US version. And I love the show, but honestly, this season got draining, you guys. This season was too much. It was not fun anymore. It was not a vibe. I mean, I still enjoyed watching the show, but just like there were just so many things about even just the contestants. Everything felt very forced, like people were there for a platform, and it was just a lot. And you know, a lot of people were just trying to win the favor of America. And then on the other side too, especially with the public became too much. Like, I'm talking about people were calling CPS on people in the villa.
Tell me why I saw Huda talking about being essayed by her dad, and then the people are like, well, that's really sad, but doesn't excuse her actions on Love Island. Are we losing the plot? Someone's talking about their essay story and your first reaction is like, yeah, well, it doesn't excuse their actions on a reality dating show where people twerk on each other. If you're looking for morals, watch a fucking Al Jazeera documentary. Don't watch Love Island. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're watching Love Island for morals? Really? Where people are twerking on each other, spitting milk in each other's mouths? Like, what the hell? It's just a reality dating show. It, like, this much anger over a reality TV star just because she did, like, or said things that you didn't like, all over a dating show. Really? Like, I'm just so shocked. Like, this is what I mean. I think we're witnessing the end of humanity. To have this much anger over someone simply because they said things on a podcast that you don't like is insane. Like, I really think that the day of judgment is coming soon, because I don't think humanity can progress after this.
People were being racist, making disgusting memes.
So is it just racist island at this point? The amount of racist attacks towards black contestants this season is actually disgusting. And here goes another example from BuzzFeed. They apparently made this Instagram post where they said what they would make Shelly for breakfast. A knuckle sandwich is what they said they would make Shelly for breakfast. So now you think violence towards black women is funny? Like, I really need us to think about this shit. Apparently they deleted it and no apology has been issued. But why would you make this post? There's nothing funny about that at all. And something about this feels incredibly insidious to me.
I know that, like, with shows like this and with the internet and with social media in general, things like that are gonna happen, but I have genuinely never seen anything like that in my life. Like, that was too much. That was a lot. A few of the Islanders as well have been saying some not great things. For example, Yulissa, she was booted off of the show after the first episode because there was a video that resurfaced of her saying the N-word multiple times. But of course, people were taking it way too far with Yulissa alone, even though what she did was absolutely wrong. But in no world is it okay to send death threats to people. And I feel like that has become super normalized in this day and age. It's another part of the meanness culture that's going on right now. Where does that come from? In what world does that cross your mind to think to do that? And it's almost like these people are just waiting on the sidelines for something to happen, for someone to mess up, for some video to resurface so that they can literally exert that type of hatred towards somebody. There was another contestant too, of course, Sierra, who she used a racial slur to describe her eyes. She used the C word. Definitely should be held accountable for that. But even with that, you know, it's just like people don't want to actually forgive and like have someone take accountability.
When it comes to using a racial slur, especially on the internet, especially as an adult, and especially when you're comparing a feature about yourself to a racial group that you are not a part of, and saying that you don't like this feature about yourself so much that you are getting a cosmetic procedure done, that is hateful, it's racist, it's insulting, and it's wrong. I'm not only black, but I'm a woman in America. Double homicide. So if you think for 1 second I'm gonna be playing Oppression Olympics with Asian people and be like, yeah, that word's not that serious. You know this other word that's like way more serious, and that shit is stupid. If they are this insulted by the word that she used, I'm gonna stand 10 toes behind them and say, that word's insulting to them, get her off the show, period. What I wanna bring up is this weird line on the internet we have in between holding someone accountable for their actions and being wrong and being fucking weird. And like, when we cross over to being fucking weird, is like something in me as a human being, especially as someone who's public facing on the internet, feels uncomfortable with the fact that somebody took a screenshot of Sierra's story a year ago in January, saved it up until the point that she's in Love Island in Fiji, locked away in a villa, away from her phone, literally isolated from the outside world, saved it until the audience loved her, and then went into, hey, this girl's a little calculated, something's off about her. And once they saw that moment where her PR was going down and her friends were having to defend her, they then dropped this bomb. Please don't misunderstand where I'm coming from with this thought, and listen to me with an open heart and open mind, y'all. I am not trying to minimize anybody's pain, and if that's what I'm doing, call me out and I will delete this video and I will apologize, because that is not my intention. I'm just saying this culture we have on the internet, especially TikTok, of building normal people up, normal people, not celebrities, normal people with normal jobs and normal lives, building them up on a pedestal and waiting till they get there only to tear them down with something they did in their worst moment. Aside from Sierra, y'all. We're the first generation to truly grow up on the internet. I have videos of me on my mom's MacBook when I was a little kid singing Hannah Montana songs. Videos of me in high school dancing and doing embarrassing shit and making music videos with my friends. Videos of me in college drunk as fuck with people that probably fucking hate my guts now. And I've never done no real weird shit like what Brooke Schofield did, making fun of Trayvon Martin, like, hoes, you cool. But it makes me think, I don't want my children to be on the internet before the age of 18 because I don't want you to make a mistake that you can't take back that might ruin your career in the future.
Nobody in the Asian community has to forgive Sierra. No one in the Asian community has to follow her. No one in the general public has to follow her. But the extent that people are taking it, again, is just too far. And even when you think about some of the other male contestants that have done some pretty questionable things, for example, Austin from Love Island, he was like a Trump supporter and like he reposted some really nasty things about Black women. People in the comments of his videos were completely different than the people in the comments of Sierra's videos.
I think the other thing that's pissed me off about Love Island and the viewers is Austin. The treatment that he's getting compared to Sierra's is so different. So different. Where is his cancellation? Why have we not canceled that subscription? I'm confused.
People in Sierra's videos were a lot less forgiving, and with Austin, people were like, oh, you know, just vote blue and we will support you, and like, oh, you know, damn, Austin, I really want to like you, and all this other stuff, and like, Austin's growing on me, and all this other stuff, right? So it's definitely a case of pick and choose too, and I feel like that's another conversation that could be had about the topic, but that's a whole nother thing. Honestly, I say all of this to say that the picking and choosing, the extreme lengths that people are willing to go to, the finding things that aren't even a problem to try to make it a problem, it all points to my theory that I have that it's not really about holding people accountable. It's really about exerting that power and that control over anyone and everyone that they can. It seems performative. It doesn't really seem genuine. It doesn't seem like a lot of the people who are engaging in cancel culture, who are waiting for someone to mess up, who are waiting for someone to make an error, it feels a lot less about holding someone accountable and more so about exerting that power. Another thing too about situations like this and just in the internet culture in general is that empathy is dead online. Like, genuinely and honestly, and of course I'm speaking facetiously, like I'm literally not talking about every single element of every single person that engages on the internet lacks empathy, but for the most part there's a culture on the internet, especially like TikTok comments. I don't know what is in the air, I don't know what's in the water, I don't know what we're being fed, but TikTok comments especially are sometimes some of the most egregious and mean things I have genuinely ever seen. Like, I don't know where some people think that like saying stuff like that is okay. I don't know where that like comes from, but it is truly concerning.
My psychiatrist was telling me that he thinks Gen Z is the least empathetic generation, and at first I was like, and now I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, you're 100% right, man. Because there's two types of empathy, right? The first one is like emotional empathy. I think we got that. The second one is like perspective empathy. There's scientific words for these, but I'm not a scientist, and I'm not gonna pretend to be. And sorry, the middle schoolers are out. Sorry I live where you vacation. So I hope that didn't come across in a creepy way. The other empathy is like understanding why someone would do something, like their perspective, what leads them to do something. So I think we suck at that one, especially. And I think that's true because the way that Gen Z reacts to other people's opinions, even when it is like harmless, is in an aggressive way that usually makes you out to be a bad person for having a differing opinion, if that makes sense. Like, if I said, I think it's so annoying when people use those electronic scooters on the sidewalk because one time maybe an electronic scooter hit my leg, so I'm really annoyed by them. Someone would comment on that and be like, wow, God forbid that scooters are the thing that bring one person joy. You just don't like joy now? You just don't like joy? When, like, I think people, like, our generation doesn't realize that every single person has a different perspective. And your perspective is shaped by things like your experiences in life. Those are what form your opinions about things.
A lot of people will say the most mean things about somebody on a reality show or someone who's a celebrity or an influencer and think that they won't see it. And even if they don't see it, like what what makes you comfortable to say certain things like that? Like, I remember with Glorilla, this is a really good example of it too, because it's one of those examples too where it's like no matter what anybody does that's in the limelight, it's never going to be good enough. It's always going to be a problem. But with Glorilla, people were bullying her and saying that she needs to get her nose done and saying that she's ugly and calling her all types of names in the book. And then she went and got a nose job and people were like, oh, like, you know, we're disappointed. Why would she do that to herself? It doesn't even look good. She looks like Whoville. Like, the way people are so comfortable talking about people's appearances is ridiculous. And even with people who get cosmetic enhancements, it's still not right. It's still not right to talk about people's appearances in such a like degrading and dehumanizing way.
There is nothing the internet hates more than an ugly person. You can be an abuser, a criminal, an Iggy Azalea fan, any number of horrible things, but as long as you are still hot, I'm talking your jawline could cut steel, you look like you were properly breastfed, bitches with daddy issues will use your mugshot as their profile pic. But God forbid you are conventionally unattractive or fat or both, and you post a video talking about, I think I look good today. The comments are gonna be like, your blood type is A1. Why are your eyes in 2 different area codes? Or they'll just post the link to the Wikipedia page for fetal alcohol syndrome. Now, I will admit, oftentimes after reading these comments, I giggle, a chortle escapes. Oftentimes it's more of a gasp, and then I quickly send the video to my friends. Okay, I am complicit, but at a certain point, enough is enough.
I feel like social media now has become desensitized to other human beings and other human interactions. Like, the things I see people say online, I would never hear somebody say in real life. Like, that, we don't talk like that to people that we see in real life. And if we did, it would cause problems. We would not have a very, very good social life, a good personal life, a good working life, because that's just not how people are supposed to interact with each other. If people are this degrading, this rude, this nasty on public platforms, on comment sections, I can only imagine what they're DMing people. Like, it has just gotten way too far, and this culture is so normalized. It's not even like now, like, you see a couple sparse bullying or hating comments or anything like that. In some videos, you genuinely see all just straight up hate, just straight up talking about someone's appearances, just straight up bullying. Genuinely, they'll have thousands of likes. Another great example of the whole empathy being dead thing is Kayla Malik. Now, if you guys don't know who Kayla Malik is, she is a TikToker and she recently went kind of viral. Her story picked up a lot of traction for her series talking about her ex-boyfriend, and in these videos she detailed like the gruesome, I'm talking about, like, she included videos and clips and audio and the things that this man was saying and doing to her. Let's just say there's a special place in hell for him. While this was going on, before anyone in the public knew what was going on, everyone was talking about her makeup style, right? Everyone was like, oh my god, ew, your freckles, it looks like doo-doo. Like, and the thing is too, there's a line to be drawn between like genuine criticism and, okay, I've been waiting to say this too. I've been waiting for the perfect place to say this too, because I be seeing sometimes like people, I don't know, just like not even in my videos alone, but like just on social media in general, I'll see some people disguise like low-key bullying or like nastiness. I'll see people disguise nastiness as criticism or feedback. And it really isn't. Like, especially if you have to start it out by saying, I don't mean to be a hater, but I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not trying to be a hater. You're trying to be a hater. It is as simple as that. Even with Kayla Malik, like, even when people, there's a difference between genuine criticism and just being mean. So saying things like her face looks like there's like doo-doo on it and like all that other stuff is so unnecessary. But anyway, people were doing all of this while she was literally living the worst months of her life. She had to go online and see thousands and thousands of hate comments on how she did her makeup and how her appearance was and all this other stuff, right? And so even when this story came out, then I think people were like, oh wow, like maybe we should be a little bit nicer about things like this, because we never know what someone is going through.
How come it took a woman coming forward about being abused to near death for
for the internet to realize that they shouldn't have made fun of her appearance. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, a TikToker bravely came forward about her experiences with domestic abuse. And on top of having to fight for her life every single day during that relationship, she also had to deal with people online making fun of the way she applied her makeup, of all things. Making worse probably one of the only things that she had in her life to express her emotions and keep her going. And yet only now do people feel guilty and remorseful for the way that they treated her. I was literally taught at a really young age that you don't know what someone is going through. Therefore, just be kind. Just literally be kind. Because I don't know. I think my mom low-key taught me this, but like literally I used to, I'm not even kidding y'all. I used to be that one kid that used to like speak up when people would like be mean to people in class, because it's like you genuinely don't know what people are going through. I myself have gone through so much growing up, and like everyone has something that they've gone through, and you don't know. Like if you're the type of person where you're projecting what you're going through onto other people, you really don't know. The person that you're doing that to could be going through something even more unimaginable than you are. And it's not like a competition or anything like that, but it's just like it puts it into perspective. Like you not handling your emotions well is affecting someone else who's probably going through something a lot harder. And even if they're not, it's just like you don't know. That's the point. You don't know what someone is going through. So therefore, just be decent, you know? And it took literally Kayla Mallett coming out and saying, yeah, my boyfriend almost unalived me, for people to be like, oh, wow. Maybe her makeup was like the least of her concerns. Maybe we were like doing too much. Like, why did it have to come to that point for people to realize maybe we should be a little bit more human? Maybe we should treat people online like human beings more, because we don't know what they're going through, right? And then what blew me even more is that a few months after her situation came out, I came across a video of hers on my For You page, and I was like, oh, like, wow, it looks like she's doing better, all this other stuff. I wasn't thinking nothing about her freckles, honestly. And I opened up the comments, and what are some of the top comments? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but your freckles really do look bad. Like, just right back at it, like nothing ever happened. It's not like I'm trying to say that just because she went through something bad that people shouldn't say anything about her freckles or whatever the case may be. I still think that's kind of like just let people figure it out. Just let people go through the motions. It literally doesn't affect you. If someone does a makeup style that is not your personal taste, that's fine, but like keep it to yourself, you know what I mean? Like there's a filter. There's like a natural filter. Like you just don't have to say certain things. But even in that case, it's just kind of like, why does it take someone going through something like that for us to have empathy? And then right after we forget about it or move on, it's like nothing ever happened. I think this all also has something to do with the loneliness epidemic, which will have to be its own separate video in and of itself, just because there's so much to talk about with that. But I feel like when people don't really interact in real life and people live more online than they do in real life, it leads to this like cognitive dissonance. It leads to this like almost resentment of like people, because we naturally seek community, and if we see something that might trigger something in us, it kind of leads us to like dehumanize, and it also leads us to dehumanize people. That's the big thing. I think like when you don't hang out with people, when you don't have friends, when you don't have like family that you talk to, it makes you like less privy to what actually being a human is about. Like nobody in their life who like talks to people, who like has friends, who like has family members, is going to be that brash, harsh, and mean about people's appearances, about people's oopsies, you know what I mean? Because you would know that everyone in your life does an oopsie. There's your best friend that like everyone has someone in their life that they don't really like how they do their makeup, or like they, you know, their makeup doesn't look great in person, or like, you know what I mean? But like even things like that, I personally don't like to think about that when it comes to like my friends and like my family and stuff like that, because I'm too busy like just having fun with my girls. Like I'm too busy like doing things and loving the people for who they are. No one is perfect. No one is flawless. Everyone makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. And people are super, super, super harsh on people for making mistakes nowadays. And like I mentioned in my previous video, if you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it. It's one of my favorites. But it feels like trends nowadays have become about a lot less about creativity and more so about conformity and following trends. And I literally saw a video talking about how the way that consumption has played out nowadays is a great indicator of what is going on in the economy right now. But basically the gist was that now, instead of buying an actual Chanel bag, people are buying Chanel makeup products because we still want that label of luxury without the price tag. And we still want to be part of this consumption wave. And I think because things have become so name brand and so heavy on collecting things as quickly as you can in mass, social media has become a lot less creative, a lot less fun. This reminds me of a comment that I actually saw on my last video, which was that the last creative trend we saw was like the American Swim challenge. It was a really fun challenge where people could do their own little take on it. It still used the same format, but it was very unique and very creative. And of course, this doesn't apply obtusely. Of course, there are definitely multiple people who are still doing their own thing. There are multiple really, really creative trends and people doing creative things, but it's just not as common anymore. What is most popular right now, even if it's not on your For You page, because 9 times out of 10, this stuff ain't on my For You page either. But 9 times out of 10, the things that are doing really, really popular right now with the mass is the simple trends, the sushi face mask. And I think in some way it's our attempt to try to cope with the economic status that a lot of us are at right now by kind of assuming a closer proximity to celebrities or people who are rich or are living the lifestyle that a lot of people aim to live by any means necessary and with any little thing that they can. So I saw someone say that the edits are really, really good right now, which is true, but edits is completely different than a whole video concept, format, filming angles, lighting, all of that combined. Editing is still, there are still a lot of creative things, but it kind of feels more about, it's kind of, again, an indicator of the point that we are in our society right now. It's kind of like we're reminiscing, we're kind of collecting, we're looking back on, we're holding on to the dear and near creativity that we have, the little bit that we have, we're holding it close and dear to our heart and making edits out of it and appreciating it. If anything, I feel like that kind of goes to show the point that we are in society even more so. And on top of that, everything is just being taken super seriously now. Everything is being super hyper analyzed. It leaves a lot less room for people to even want to be creative because they don't want to be scrutinized, or it's going to be a problem, or the few people that are creative are getting bullied or are getting ridiculed or are, being super, super hyper analyzed and criticized.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like in the past year or two, people have just gotten so much more shamelessly mean online. I made a video where it was just a second a day and it was a bunch of different just how I looked that day. So there are different makeup styles, there are different outfits, whatever. And in the first clip, I had some over exaggerated kind of emo style makeup. I had done a black lipstick top lip thingy, kind of Kim Possible style, and then I had done these 3 blush lines with eyeshadow and eyeliner or whatever. Point is, it was meant to be an over exaggerated cartoony kind of look. I literally based the makeup look off of those Japanese photo booths where they put filters on you and stuff, and one of them is those 3 little glowy blush lines. Either way, it's not my typical makeup look. I was going for super cartoony, kind of cutesy, matching the Sanrio vibes because the Kuromi bucket hat that I was wearing and taking pictures for because of my Hot Topic brand ambassadorship or whatever. So then people were commenting and tagging their friends and just being like, OMG, the first one, oh my god, the makeup in the first one, help, OMG, why is no one talking about the first one, oh my god.
And it's just a very different social media than the social media that we grew up on, that we were introduced to. And I was born in 2001, so I literally grew up in the last generation of outside flip phones, besides Facebook, of course, but the first major social media of this new era to come out was Instagram, and then we had Snapchat, and it felt so fun and free, and it wasn't as serious. But I have said this before, and I will say this again, and I will die on this hill because I really genuinely do think that this is the case. But I feel like we will start to see a shift eventually. And I think that will reflect the part of our history that we are at. Right now, times are tough, y'all. Like, the economy is not it. Even like people who are making a decent amount of money, it's not enough. Like, nothing is enough right now. Our generation too, like, it's so difficult for us to live on our own, to pay our own bills, to don't even get me started on buying a house. If you're thinking about buying a house, you're cooked. You are not buying a house now. Like, in this economy, it's cooked, especially if you're young. Like, if you're older, you got money, you got settled, cool. But like, for the most part, buying a home right now is not realistic when, you know, our parents or our grandparents could have easily bought a house. I think the reason why social media doesn't feel fun right now is because nothing is really fun. It's like that meme, like, nothing's funny.
Grown people should never laugh!
Nothing is funny right now. It's the same reason why we see these different eras, the Renaissance era throughout history. The Renaissance era flourished in Europe after people just started recovering from the Black Plague. And at that point too, they were entering a period of stability, economic growth, trade routes were expanding, merchant families became wealthy and started pouring their money into the arts. And this wealth and stability gave platform to artists, creatives, intellectuals to actually think without the pressure of trying to make money. They had the space to be creative, and they had the space to take risks. The general vibe of society at times like this was curiosity, humanism, celebrating beauty and knowledge. And then, in turn, throughout history, we've seen that periods of scarcity and economic strain turns a culture into a more practical, survival-oriented one, competitive, less forgiving of mistakes, which is literally verbatim what we're seeing in society right now. Usually when there's a downturn, of course, there's usually, 9 times out of 10, more likely than not, an uptick. So I do think that, like, you know, things will start to even itself out, especially because I feel like in general, we're still recovering from COVID. Like, there's just a lot societally going on right now that I think with time will improve, and we will start to see our society go back to a better, happier, more fun one. And again, of course, this is not a like rule of thumb that social media overall does not have fun elements to it, does not have fun people, does not have fun trends. But just the culture, just everything about social media right now has become very serious, has become like a military. We're running a really tight ship around here. I don't know what's going on. It's too much. It's too much, guys. Let's all collectively take a chill pill. And like, it's hard. It is genuinely really hard to do that right now because we kind of have to be on a tight ship. And then on top of that, we are living in a time where we can like see what celebrities, what influencers are up to at like almost every second. Like, we all have access to visibility, or a lot of people are more visible now than ever. So I think that kind of makes it even harder because it's like most people right now are struggling. Most people are not making ends meet right now. Things are tough. And then to see people just lavishly living their life, and then not only that, but also being very reckless with it in some cases, it's frustrating, and it makes it even more of like a damn type of situation where everyone's like, oh my God, like it's too much going on. Put a little bit of this Etude lip tint on the middle. I don't know if it's this or what, but something has been drying out my lips. I think it might be this lip gloss I've been using lately. So I'm gonna stop using that for a minute, cause no. I've been doing this new eyeliner like look that I used to do here and there, but I kind of stopped because I stopped doing eyeliner, but I really like how eyeliner looks on me. I just have to like do it in a certain way because my eyes personally are very big. Very, very, very big. I got the doe eye thing going on here. So I feel like when I do a good cat eye with like a good outer corner lash, chef's kiss. And I literally found the perfect outer corner lash I'm gonna see where I got it from. I think I got it from this store in Arizona Mills called Miss A, if you're in Arizona. So cute. They have so many cute little like girly beauty supplies and stuff for really cheap. But they are so perfect. Like, they're these little half lashes, and they literally sit at a corner. They're short enough because I kind of have hooded eyes too, so I feel like if lashes are too long, they don't really suit my eyes too much. They look a little heavy, but this is like the perfect little combo. I'll just do my wing really, really quickly. But yeah, guys, what was your favorite era of social media? For me, I think my favorite era was probably, honestly, I really loved like the Musical.ly era, like Dub Smash. That was probably my favorite era, just because everything was so fun. I remember learning the dances with my friends. Like, that was a time for sure. Let me know if y'all were on Dub Smash. That was my shit, y'all. I didn't post, I don't think, but I should have. Girl, I should have. Me and my friends would literally learn like every single one of the new dances. Oh, that was the time, y'all. But I'm really excited and I'm really optimistic to see what the future of social media holds, just because I feel like this is probably the lowest point that we're gonna get at as a society. And I think that like most of us are starting to realize that, whoa, guys, let's dial it down a little bit. We're getting really mean, because I've been seeing like, this is not the first. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of other videos too on your guys' timeline if you guys, you know, listen to conversations like I do. But, you know, I'm not the first person to talk about this thing, this meanness, this lack of fun situation going on social media right now, and I'm definitely not going to be the last. So I feel like that's always a good starting point, generally, is when people are starting to realize and have conversations about things like this, because, you know, it definitely does come from somewhere. And I think the more we talk about things like this, the more awareness we spread, and the more we're kind of like, okay, maybe let's just be aware of how we treat each other on the internet. Let's just be nicer. I've gotten so much better at putting on lashes. I have really curly lashes, so that's why I was stuck on the lash clusters for a while, because they're just like, they were easy for me to apply and I could just leave them on. But honestly, I'm really, really loving the strip lash wave right now, just because sometimes I do like to do no lashes, especially as of late, and then also I get to experiment with different things. I'm definitely the type of person where I like to like try new things until I find what I really, really like and stick with it. And for me right now, I think what I really like for me is these half lashes. Like, look at that. I do have to put a little bit of mascara on, but it's really, really like, it really, really does fit my eye shape, I feel like. Very cutesy and very demure. I'm gonna do a little bit of my One Size setting spray. Like, I think I'm gonna do a couple of faux freckles too. I mean, not faux freckles, faux birthmarks too. There is so much that could be said about this conversation. Like, again, I'm literally just doing my makeup, talking about something that I've happened to notice on social media while I do that, in like an edited probably 20 to 30 minute video. So there's literally only so much I could talk about. So, you know, there are lots of little niche pockets and little expansions of the conversation that could be had. So let's definitely continue the convo in the comments down below. I always love hearing you guys' opinions and takes and little tidbits and observations that kind of contribute to the conversation. And yeah, guys, anyway, let me know what you guys think about this makeup look. I really like it, and I will see you guys on another video soon. Love you guys so much. Bye.